Hello and welcome to this in-depth tutorial on the Research Bureau. When I'm streaming on Twitch, I regularly see people come into chat and other people's streams as well, asking about Research Bureau. Maybe they're new players and they see people talking about Research Bureau and they don't know what it is because they can't see it on their account yet. Or maybe it's an experienced player who's never used the Research Bureau and they just want to know what it's about and how it works. So I'm going to go through why it exists, what you can do with it, and how to actually use it, and a few tips and tricks about how to get the most out of it, because there's a few little tips that you can pick up to do with using it in the most efficient way possible. So this is probably going to be quite a long video, but I'm going to go into as much depth as I possibly can, and then at the end I'm actually going to do a couple of like special resets just so you can see how it actually works with a few of these tips and tricks. If you see me looking off to the side, I've actually got some notes just so I can make sure that I cover everything and all the important points that I need to cover. So let's get started. First of all, how do you get access to the Research Bureau? Well, if you're a new player, you might notice that you can't actually see the Research Bureau features in your account just yet, because in order to get access, you have to have 5 tier 10s researched. And that's not special ships, nothing that you can get with like steel or free XP. It has to be tech tree ships. So your first 5 tech tree ships researched, your 5th one will unlock the Research Bureau. Once you unlock that 5th one, you don't have to actually buy the ship, you just have to research it. You will get access to the Research Bureau section in the armory that you can see here. So this symbol will appear in the menu bar and you'll get access to this section. At the same time, you'll also get 10,000 research points credited. Research points have this little diamond symbol, this yellow diamond symbol. And the other thing that will happen is over in the tech tree, you will get access to these reset buttons. Ignore that ×2. I'll explain what that is in a minute. Yeah, you'll get these reset buttons at the bottom of each of your tech tree lines that you've reached tier 10 on. So those are the 3 things which you unlock. And you won't be able to see the armory section until you do that. Access is permanent once it's been granted. So once you've unlocked your 5th tier 10, that's it. Then you have access to Research Bureau on your account forever. If you reset one of your 5 lines, you're not going to lose access to the Research Bureau. So don't worry about that happening. What is Research Bureau? Why does it exist? Where did it come from? I'm not going to go into the full history because the history is frankly quite long and political. It was a big drama when Research Bureau first came about under the name of Naval Training Center, NTC, and I'm sure if you go back on YouTube and you do some searches for World of Warships NTC, I'm sure you can find the history if you want, but it's really not important. If that doesn't interest you, don't worry about it. It has no bearing on what we have now. Which is Research Bureau. So the Research Bureau, I think, fills 2 or 3 different purposes. The first one is that very experienced players who've been playing the game for a long time, have an awful lot of resources available to them. So they build up a lot of particularly credits and free XP. So it's typical for experienced players to have millions of free XP sitting in their account and potentially billions of credits. I know several players who have billions of credits on their accounts, simply because they've run out of things to spend those resources on, because they've got all the ships and they just keep playing and playing and playing and amassing these resources. And so Research Bureau gives an ability for those players to use those resources on something and get something for it. The second thing is that Research Bureau encourages lower tier play. I'm going to explain why in a second, but basically it encourages you to play through the tech tree ships again. And so it encourages lower tier play in a game where the focus is mostly on tier 10, because players go up through the tech tree and then they tend to stick to tier 10. Personally, I don't really understand players who do this because the other tiers are just as interesting as tier 10. But it happens and people kind of get stuck at the top of the tech tree. And so I think Wargaming wanted to encourage people to play through the mid tiers as well by resetting lines, which is something I'm going to come on to explain shortly. So it's a resource sink, it's encouraging lower tier play, and it's to give the longer term players something to do and something to spend their resources on. Okay, let's talk about how you actually go about using the Research Bureau. But first of all, actually, let me just say what you can get to once you actually start earning some research points. So as I said, you will, when you first get access, get 10,000 points, but it's not really enough to get anything useful. The main things you can get from Research Bureau at time of recording, and this is going to be added to over time, there are 3 ships currently. When it first went live, there was 1 ship, it was just Colbert. Then Ohio was added, and more recently Siegfried has been added. Colbert is worth 57,000, Ohio is 62,500, and Siegfried is 47,000. So you start with 10,000, so that's obviously not enough to get a ship, and you're going to need to do some resetting to get access to the ships. The other thing it gives access to now is unique upgrades. If you don't know what a unique upgrade is, go onto the wiki, the World of Warships wiki, and look at the unique upgrades section, and you'll find out what these are. They're basically special upgrades that go on the tier 10s that give them a different flavor when they're mounted. And you can gain access to those again through the Research Bureau. This is a recent change. These used to be available via missions, but you don't need to worry about that anymore. This is how you get them now, and they are 19,200 points each. So again, 10,000, not enough to get one of those. Also, if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, there's also a package to get 250,000 free XP, and there's some signals as well, but I don't recommend using these because it's a really inefficient use of your time and your research points, because research points are quite time and free XP intensive to get a hold of. Okay, let's go over to the tech tree and I'll show you how the resets actually work. So I mentioned this reset button before. So we happen to be in the Russian tech tree here, but it doesn't matter. I could be in any of these nations. And you would see this reset button on any of the lines in which you've reached and researched, not necessarily bought, just researched the tier 10. So for example, here I've reached Kremlin. I happen to own the Kremlin, but as I said, that's not important as long as I've researched it. And you can see I've got a reset button there. What happens when I press the reset button? A few things happen at the same time. First of all, you're going to get a lot of warnings that say, are you sure you want to do this? Are you really sure you want to do this? Because once you press the reset and you say, yes, 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 I'm sure, a lot of, quite serious things happen. So you need to be aware of what's going to happen before you press the button and say, okay. So if I press the button and I follow the prompts, and I will be doing this at the end of the video so you can actually see what it looks like. The first thing that's going to happen when you press reset is it brings up a confirmation saying, okay, this is what's about to happen. This is the amount of credits you're going to get, and so on and so on and so on. So it's going to sell every ship. When you press the button, it's going to sell every ship from the tier 10 all the way back down through the research path. You follow this white line all the way back down. It's going to reset all of those. It's going to reset through here, and it's going to reset down to the tier 1. And it's going to sell any ships that you own. So, for example, I don't own Sovietsky Soyuz, I don't own Vladivostok, but it will sell the Kremlin, the Sinop, the Ismail, the Pyotr Veliki, all the way back down through to all the ships that I own. For each of those ships, I will get 50% of the purchase value of the ship, so the normal sale price. If you go to the carousel and you right-click a ship, a tech tree ship, and you see the sale value, that's how much you're going to get. So I'll get 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 ships worth of credits for this particular line. The ones that I don't own, so in this case Sovietsky Soyuz and Vladivostok, obviously I'm not going to get the sale value for those ships, but they will be reset. So the other thing that happens when you press the button is that the ship's research status is reset, and it's as though you have never owned the ship before. It completely resets the line, and you'll have to re-research the whole line. The other thing that happens is any of the stuff that's on the ship, so upgrades, they get demounted and they get sent to your inventory. Commanders get sent to the reserve. They maintain their specialization for that particular tech tree ship, so you can just put them straight back on that ship again when you get it back later. Any camouflages, they get demounted and put into your storage, and any signals get demounted and put into your storage as well, and obviously flags get taken off. And those things are available then for use on other ship. And the modules also get the research status of the modules. So the upgraded guns, upgraded engines, upgraded hulls, they also get reset and sold. And you end up with a completely reset line all the way back down to tier 1. And the way it works with these branches and splits is that, so for example, if I reset Kremlin, which I will be doing at the end of the video, it will go back through and it will reset all the way down the white line. It will reset Bogatyr. So even though I'm resetting the battleship line in this case, because that branches off the tier 3 cruiser, the tier 3 cruiser will also be reset and sold. And the Novik will be reset and sold, and I'll end up back down on the Orlan. The same would be true, for example, over here with the destroyers. If I reset Grozhevoy line, it would go Grozhevoy, Udaloy, Ognavoy. Then these ones would be left alone. Same as if I reset the battleships, all the cruisers from tier 4 up would be left alone. They would still be there in my port and researched if I have them. If I reset Grozhevoy, it would go down through here. It would leave Kiev, Tashkent, and Khabarovsk alone. It would reset Minsk all the way back down to Strozhevoy, and it would also reset Novik, so both the tier 2s, and then I'd again end up back down on Orlan. The other thing that happens when you press the button is that, let me just switch over to the Americans, because I've actually got a bunch of regrinds actually in progress here. The other thing that happens is a research symbol, a research point symbol appears on the tier 6, the tier 7, the tier 8, the tier 9, and the tier 10 if it's a non-carrier. Obviously, the carriers don't have those tiers, so the 6, the 8, and the 10 for the carriers. And if I mouse over one of these symbols, these are resets that I actually have in progress at the moment. If I mouse over this, it'll tell me what that is. So it's a research point symbol. This one happens to be worth 1500. So the tier 6 will be worth 500. The tier 7 will be worth 500. The tier 8 will be worth 1500. 9 is 1500. And the tier 10 is 6000. That's for the non-carriers. For the carriers, the tier 6 is worth 500. The tier 8 is worth 1500, and the tier 10 is worth 6000. So it's the same as the non-carriers, it's just that you're missing 2 tiers. What that means is that a non-carrier line is worth 10,000 points, and a carrier line is worth 8,000 points under normal circumstances. So, how do you actually get the points out of one of these symbols? Well, you have to come back down to the tier 1 because your line has been completely reset. You don't have any research done on that line at all. You've sold all the ships. So you start playing through, and you play through, or you regrind with free XP. I'll explain that a little bit in a minute. You come through the tier 1, the tier 2, 3, 4, 5. The tier 1 to 5 don't matter because there's no research points available on those. You can do that however you like. You don't have to even buy them. You can just free XP all the way through. Once you get to the tier 6, you have to play it, so you have to research it, you have to buy it, and you have to play it once and win. So this works like the same way as some of the other victory mechanics in the game, like the daily win bonus, the Christmas snowflakes event, if you've seen that. You buy the ship, you play it once, you win. It can be a co-op match, it can be a random match, I think it can even be a scenario. As long as you win, you will get those research points. So I'm on Helena at the moment, for example. If I get to Cleveland and I play Cleveland and I win, I will get 1,500 research points for playing Cleveland and getting a win in it. And then once you get up to the tier 10 for a surface ship line, for a non-carrier line, you will have 10,000 points in your inventory in the armory that you can then spend on stuff. Let me talk about free XP a little bit. So you don't actually have to buy the ships that don't have the research symbols on them. So if you want to speed it up, you can just free XP your way from tier 1 all the way up to tier 6. And then you can buy and play each of the tier 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So the minimum effort way of doing it basically is to free XP up to tier 6, research it with free XP, buy it, play it, free XP to tier 7, buy it, play it, 8, buy it, play it, 9, buy it, play it. And so you only have to play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 matches to get the research points if you just use free XP. Or you can play through the whole line just like you would do if it was a new line, and you can play every single match and earn all the free XP by playing. Earn all the ship XP by playing. And that's fine too, and you can do a combination of those things. So what I've been doing, for example, is I've been playing each ship by free XPing the stock modules, so upgrading the guns, engines, hulls, doing that with free XP, and then playing through the rest of the ship using just my own time and effort. And also mounting signals and camos and things to speed it up a bit as well, because of course you can get tens of thousands of XP on a ship if you mount all the camos and bonuses that are available to you, and you get your first daily win bonus and things like that. So you can speed this up considerably. And actually a player who has lots of resources available can actually go through this process pretty quickly from start to finish and get the points pretty quickly. One little warning about line splits. Let me go to, where are we going here? So for example, here, I've reset recently both of my American cruiser lines, and I actually did them at the same time. And that's fine. For this line, that's actually okay, because the split happens at tier 5. And so if I reset this line, I get the research symbols on the 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. But it doesn't affect this branch, and so I can still reset this branch at the same time and get the symbols on the 6 to the 10, and they can both be reset at the same time with no disadvantage. If I go to another nation which has a split that's higher up, so for example the Russian destroyers, which split at tier 7, this is not a good one to do simultaneously, because if I reset this line, I'll have a research symbol on Gnevny and a research symbol on Minsk, and then if I simultaneously research the Grozovoy line, I will not get double research symbols on these two, because you can only reset them once like that. So don't reset things which have splits above tier 5 at the same time. So that's just something to be aware of if there's a split in the line. So splits in the line that are 5 or below, no problem. Splits in the line that are 6 or above, that's a problem. Don't do it at the same time. But obviously you can reset one line without affecting the other, and that's just fine. Okay, let me explain doubles. So you can see at the bottom here, I've got some ×2. You won't necessarily see this ×2. The way that works is the Research Bureau comes in seasons. So there are 4 seasons a year, 3 months long at time of recording. That might change. And it says down here, the first resetting of a branch of ships will bring 2 times victory bonuses with research points. And the next multiplier of victory bonuses will be available in 2 months. So we're 1 month into this particular season. And the first reset of the season gives a double bonus. So what that means is that if I reset the Russian battleships, for example, the tier 6 would take, instead of 500, would take 1,000 bonus. So 500 becomes 1,000, 500 becomes 1,000, 1,500 for the tier 8 becomes 3,000, 1,500 for the tier 9 becomes 3,000, and 6,000 for the tier 10 becomes 12,000. So you will end up with 20,000 for a non-carrier line. So 10,000 times 2, and 16,000 for a carrier line, which is 8,000 times 2. That's the double bonus. The other thing to be aware of, which is one of these neat tips and tricks, which it doesn't say anywhere in the UI that you can do, and that is that you can reset a line multiple times using free XP without actually buying or playing any of the ships, because these research symbols actually stack. I don't have any actually examples here, so I'm going to do this at the end of the video so I can show you. But if I had multiple research symbols, you'd actually be able to see that. And they do stack. So what you can do is you can actually reset a line. So let's say I reset Worcester. So we reset Worcester all the way back down to Erie. And then I don't play anything. I don't buy anything. I use my huge pile of free XP. I free XP all the way through back down. I get to the tier 6. That gets a symbol. I don't buy it. I don't play it. Free XP, free XP, free XP, free XP. And I get to the tier 10. Research it. Don't buy it. And you will notice that the reset symbol comes back. So you'll get this button back again, even though you haven't bought any of the ships. And if you have enough free XP, you can press that reset button again. It will reset. Obviously, you're not going to get any sale value because you don't have the ships, but it will reset it for a second time all the way down to tier 1. And then as you research back through the ships, you'll notice that you've actually got a double bonus on these ships now. And you can do that as many times as you like, as long as you've got enough free XP to do it. Press it 3 times, press it 4 times. It's going to cost you a lot of XP, but if you're sitting on a pile of free XP, you can absolutely do that. And you can then make it really efficient with both your playtime and also with your credits, because you don't have to re-buy the ships multiple times. You only have to re-research the ships multiple times if you want to do that. It's only really relevant for people who are sitting on a massive mountain of free XP, but at some point in your career, it may become useful to you. And I'm actually going to do that with my Russian battleships at the end of the video so you can see how it looks. How do you know how much XP it's going to take? So if you want to spend your free XP on a line, but you're not sure, do I have enough? I'm not quite sure. What you can do is you can actually go to a third-party website, wowsft.com. It actually has a research tool. So wowsft.com/research. You click on the nation that you're interested in. You click on the tier 1. You click on the tier 10 ship in the line, and it will tell you how much XP is needed to get from the tier 1 to the tier 10. If you click around a bit, what you'll notice is that the cheapest line to actually research in terms of non-carriers is actually the Harugumo line in the Japanese tech tree. So the one that goes from Hashidate through Chikumo Umekaze down to Izukaze, Minakaze, and then all the way down to Harugumo, this line here. So this is the one that's the cheapest. So if you're not interested in actually playing the ships and you just want to get the points with minimum effort, then this is the line that you should reset, because it's the one that gives you the most research points per XP, basically. Some of the other lines, so generally the destroyer lines are the cheapest and the battleship lines are the most expensive. The carriers are cheap compared to the others, but that's because there's not as many ships in the line, and of course they're not worth as many research points, so 10,000 versus 8,000. Just bear that in mind. But yeah, wowsft.com/research is a very useful tool for doing that. Okay, so we've talked about what the Research Bureau is, we've talked about how to actually do it. Now I'm actually going to do it so you can see what it looks like when you do it. I'm also going to use my double bonus, and I'm also going to use that free XP trick to get multiple symbols stacked up. And so what I'm actually going to end up with here is the double bonus. So I'm going to end up with 1,000, 1,000, and so on, up to for 20,000 total. But then I'm also going to free XP through the line as well without actually playing any of the ships. And so I'm actually going to end up with a third bonus on these. So I'm actually going to end up with a triple bonus. So what you'll see actually is that I have 1,500, 1,500, a triple amount on each one, so that the whole line is actually, when I eventually play it through, will actually be worth 30,000, not 10,000, not 20,000, actually 30,000. 20,000 from this double bonus for the initial reset, for the first reset of the season, and then an additional 10,000 for the free XP that I'm going to do. So, just to recap very quickly, I've got the Kremlin, the Sinop, the Ismail, and the Pyotr Veliki. It's going to sell those. It's going to reset all the way back down to the tier 1. All the stuff on those ships goes into the inventory, and I get the half credit value of the 4 ships that I own. So you will see my credit balance go up slightly from 319 million up to something a bit higher than that. So let's actually press the reset button. You'll see the warning that comes up in like the summary screen. So it's going to tell me this is what's going to happen. So I'm going to get 17.6 million credits from selling the ships. It also tells me that the modules are going to be sold, camouflages will be demounted, just like I said earlier, and you can actually mouse over this and see the breakdown of where that comes from. It also tells me that I'm going to get a double bonus. So I'm going to get 20,000 research points available for this line, and that's where they're going to come from. So 1,000, 1,000 instead of 500, 500, right? And to get the reward, research a ship anew and buy her, then helm her into the battle and win. The thing it doesn't tell you is about the free XP technique, which I will also do. So we're going to say continue. It really, really checks that you want to do this. So yes, I definitely want to do this. Then you wait. You get the sale noise, and so you'll notice now that that line is gone. I've got 18.65 million credits has been credited to me. I've lost those ships. They've all been reset in terms of their research, all the way back down to the all. And so you'll notice now that the Novik doesn't have a credits value against it anymore. It actually has an XP value against it because I need to research back through. And with the recent update, I can actually do this now. So if I didn't want to use free XP, what I would start doing now is playing, or either researching with the free XP or researching, buying and playing the ships through tier 6 to tier 10, but I'm not going to do that. I'm also going to do this free XP thing. You don't have to do this. This is optional, but if you are sitting on millions of free XP, you can absolutely do this. And with a recent update, I actually do this via the tech tree now, so I can click on here. I don't even have to go back to the port anymore. I can say research purchase. Research, yes. Purchase, no. Very important, purchase, no. And then I'm going to go, especially if we're going to do this multiple times. And then I'm going to go to Kenya-Suvorov. Oh, research, sorry. Sorry, then I'm going to go to Bogatyr. Sorry, I skipped a ship then. Research purchase, yes. No. On to Kenya-Suvorov. Research purchase. Research, yes. No. So I'm not buying any of these, I'm just researching them. And go through Ganget. Now I'm not going to make you watch me do this, but I'll go through Ganget. No, so I'm just going to do that for every single one of these ships. I'm going to research it, and then I'm not going to purchase it. And you'll see that I get back down to Kremlin. So let's skip ahead. Okay, so here we are. I'm just about to research the Kremlin. And again, I'm not going to purchase it. And so now if I go back, this is kind of a normal reset situation. So I've got 500 bonus, 500 bonus, 500 bonus, but these are actually doubles. So although it says 500 at the bottom, that is a double, so it's actually 1,000. But now you'll notice that even though I haven't actually bought or played any of these, I've also got the reset symbol back again. I've still got 3.7 million free XP available. So this, if I played through, if I bought and played and win on these now, it'd be worth 20,000. But I'm not satisfied with that. So I'm going to say reset again. And it's going to say, well, this time there's no credits available because I haven't got any of the ships. But I can now get an extra 10,000 research points for doing this with my free XP. Continue. Yes. So this is optional. You don't have to do this. But it's a little trick that you can use. So now it's reset it again. There's no sail sound because I haven't got any of the ships. And I can go through and do exactly the same thing again. So I'll do that and I'll get going researching and I'll see you in a minute. So I've just got to Ismail, which is the tier 6. Now if I was playing through this line, this is probably where I would stop researching and start buying. Well, research and then buy, because I actually do want to play and then win on the ship because I want to claim the research points. But just to show you what it looks like if I research through, I'm not going to buy these. I'm actually just going to research through. So you can now see this Ismail has now got 3. See, it says times 3. This is the magic they don't tell you about in the UI. So you can stack up these as many times as you like. So it says research points 500 times 3, which is 1,500. And so if I carry on through researching down to Kremlin, this line will then be worth 30,000. And then I can actually come back, and if I've got enough free XP, I can do that again and get 40,000, do it again, get 50,000, and so on. And so you can actually amass enough points to get one of the ships with only playing through the line once, and you need essentially 70,000 to get Ohio because it's 62,500. So you need to do the equivalent of 7 line resets to get Ohio, although you get 10,000 to start with, which takes 1 off. You get a double bonus once a season, which takes another 1 off. And so really the minimum is kind of 5 in a season. And you could do that with free XP if you wanted to. And it doesn't take very long, and you only have to play 5 matches, 1 in each of the 6 to 10, and you'll get enough points to get the ship. So if you're sitting on a mountain of free XP, you can absolutely do that. And so I'm not going to do it now because I actually do want to play through these. But if I continued researching through, you would see that triple bonus coming up on each of the ones that I've reset. See, they've actually already got the triple bonus because the bonus is applied when you reset the line, not when you research it back. So these already have the triple bonus, and I can now buy and play each one of these and get that triple bonus. So that's it. I hope that makes some sense. If you've got any questions, please do put them down in the comments, and either I or another helpful soul will come and help you. or you can join the StatsBloke Discord. There's a large community of people in that Discord. It's a very, very helpful server to be a part of. You can come in there and you can ask any questions. It's a nice, safe place for you to come and ask questions about the game. If you're a newer player, or even if you're not a new player, you absolutely will not be judged. And it's a really good place to ask a very friendly community a load of questions. And you can find the link to that Discord server down in the description. I stream several times a week on Twitch. Go to twitch.tv/StatsBloke and drop me a follow over there. And you can see me playing the game, and you can ask me questions while I'm live as well in the chat if you want to. And again, there's some very friendly people in the chat who can help you out as well. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please do like the video, please drop a comment below, and do subscribe and ring that bell for the notifications so you can see when I post more videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you very soon. Just a quick post note. After pressing stop on the recording, I actually decided to go back and reset the line again using free XP because I've got plenty. So actually, if I scroll back down here now, you can see that I've got a ×4 bonus. So you can see that it just keeps stacking. And so as long as you've got enough free XP, you can just keep doing that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to play through the line. And then when I've played through to the tier 10, I will have got 40,000 research points, which will enable me to get one of the ships that I don't have from the Research Bureau.